June 22nd, I'm leaving the hostel. Now we just have to walk a couple miles through town, go across a couple bridges across the river, and then I'm back in the mountains. It was a typical hostel night for me, miserable, hot. It's always hot in the hostels and I never sleep very well. But now I got 4 days till the next town, so I'll be sleeping good. There's a chance of rain today, so hopefully I'll stay dry, and it's gonna get hot again. So we'll see how today goes. Going across my first bridge. I hate to say it, Duncannon, but you're one of the crappiest towns I've walked through. You really should do a better job at cleaning your town up. Now I'm going over the Susquehanna River. On a very busy road. Luckily, I've got this divided footpath here. I get across the bridge, I gotta climb up that hill. And I'll be away from all this noise. Okay, so I've reached the top of the mountain and now I have to walk on that. I didn't see that in the report. I hope I don't have to do this for very long, or I'm not going very far today. You can still see the river down there. And there's a flood watch for this afternoon. So that'll make things even more interesting. But for right now, I'll just try to tackle this 45-degree rock. Oh, this trail is already sucking the energy out of my body. There is a shelter 7.5 miles from here. And if this is all 7.5 miles of this, I'm just probably gonna stop there today, because this is tough. Sometimes I get a little break like this. Yeah, this isn't too bad. But then the last 5 minutes I couldn't even film it because I needed both my hands just to climb up and down the boulders. Oh, here we go, back up again. I gotta go down there. Okay. Not with my phone on. I'll put this in my pocket. A view from the power lines. I'm about a mile into this top of this mountain, and it seems to have gotten a little better as far as boulder climbing, so hopefully that was the worst of it. I mean, there's still plenty of boulders here. They just moved the trail down slightly off the very peak, so hopefully it'll get a little easier. One last look at the town of Duncannon. See you later, never. This is the view from Table Rock. It's also where I'm having my lunch. Because, you know, it's a table and it's a rock and it's got a view. So why not? Plus it's 12:30. So it's a good time to eat. Trail's gotten a little better today, so I'm almost to that 12-mile shelter I was considering stopping at if the trail was really bad, but since it's gotten better, I'm going to keep going about another 7.5 miles to a campsite next to a creek. And it's starting to rain on me, but it's supposed to sprinkle off and on today. And then around 5 or 6, it's supposed to rain a lot. So I'm hoping to get there before the heavy rain starts. But like I said, 7.5 more miles, so shouldn't take me too long as the trail stays fairly good. It's 4 o'clock. I've gone 18 miles and I found this tiny little campsite with room for 3 or 4 different tents. And I'm going to set up right there. And then there's a natural spring just like a couple 100 feet that way. And I beat the rain. So I'm very happy. There's a severe thunderstorm watch and a flood watch for tonight, so I'm sure I'm going to get at least quite a bit of rain. But like I said, I got here ahead of time, so everything should be good. I even have a phone signal, so I can play some games tonight in my tent. while I'm listening to the rain. June 23rd, and it rained all night, and now it stopped, but it's still dripping off trees, so I'm getting a little wet, but not too bad. I did stay at this little camp all night. No one else showed up, so I had the place all to myself. And let's see, it's about 7:30 now. It's supposed to be cloudy and cool all day, so great hiking weather. I'm gonna try to go, I think it's 24 or 25 miles. It's a long way to the shelter, but for some reason there's a huge gap here. It's either 12 miles to a shelter or 25. Those are your choices. Unless I can find another camping spot in between, but that's what I'm gonna try to do 25 anyway. This is a perfect day to do it since the temperature is pretty low. The only thing that might slow me down are these rocks again. My feet still hurt a little bit from yesterday because those rocks are just brutal. But we'll see. Hopefully it'll go good. And then this is the only really big day that I'm gonna need. After this, it's back to like under 20s. So we'll see how it goes. Nice walk up my first 1,000-foot mountain today. More stairs. Yeah, at least the weather's cool. Well, it's just after 12 o'clock and I'm walking down this side trail. Actually, it's a really nice side trail to a shelter. It's 0.3 off the main trail. I normally don't like to go this far off, but it's a shelter, so it'll get me out of the rain. I'm soaked. I've been getting rained on all day. So I'm hoping to just maybe spend 30, 40 minutes here trying to dry out a little. It looks like it's starting to clear up, so hopefully by the time I get going again, it will have dried up a little out here on the trail. But I'm doing good. I'm done 12 miles already, so I'm on pace to do my 25 today like I wanted to. So we'll just have to see how it goes. I'm coming up to this swampy area, and there was a sign that said, "Warning, Beaver Dam." So I'm not sure if that means I'm walking on a beaver dam or if the beavers have dammed up the river and now I'm gonna have to walk through water. I guess I'll find out in a couple seconds. This looks like it right here. It doesn't look like it's underwater. And it's a little wet, but that's just from the rain last night. You can hear all the bullfrogs out here. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, I'm definitely gonna get wet. And I'm gonna put the phone down because I don't want to drop it in the water. I'll tell you how it went in a minute. Well, I got wet. So much for keeping my feet dry today. I went in a couple times, about 6 inches deep, and it wasn't too bad, but now my feet are all wet. And my socks, of course, and that just makes it miserable to walk in soaking wet shoes. But that's it, I'm already out of that dam. And it's raining again, so my thoughts of drying out don't look like they're gonna happen anytime soon. Oh well, what I thought was gonna be a nice cool day to hike turned into a miserable, rainy, wet, kind of cold day. I mean, I'm fine when I'm walking, but then when I took that break, I got cold because I'm all wet. So as long as I keep walking, I'll be fine. Still supposed to clear up this afternoon, so I'm still hoping the sun comes out and helps me dry out a little bit at some point. It's 4 o'clock. I've made it 18 miles to the Swatara Rail Trail. Here's the old train tracks. Here's the old bridge. A couple minutes ago, I almost fell down really hard, but I managed to catch myself. Just another reason to stop trying to walk through all this mud. I'm wet and muddy still raining, even after 4 o'clock. And so now I'm just waiting another 10 or 15 minutes for my shuttle driver to pick me up, where I can go to the hotel. And then next door is McDonald's and Arby's. I don't know which one I should pick. I think I'll go with Arby's. But it'll be nice to get some hot food and dry off, because I'm actually a little cold right now. I think it might be 70, but with all that rain, you know, it just makes you cold. So that's about it. I saw several deer today. No views. The mountains here in Pennsylvania aren't very tall anyway, so the views wouldn't be that great even if I had one. Sorry, Pennsylvania. But like I said, I'll just be glad to get in the hotel and get dried off for tonight. And tomorrow will be hopefully a lot better. Okay, June 24th. I just got dropped off back at the trail after spending the night in Pine Grove. There goes Dave right there. Thanks, Dave. And it seems a little drier. I mean, I'm walking down a road right now, but hopefully I won't get all wet again this morning. It's still a little foggy out, so I can tell it's still wet. So if I walk through a lot of weeds, I'm gonna be wet again. But according to the weather, I'm supposed to have some sun today in a couple hours, so even if I get wet this morning, I should definitely dry out in a couple hours. As far as miles go, just a couple climbs today. A big one coming up here in about a mile, and then a smaller one later, and that's about it. And I'm going to try for 20 or 22. There's a stopping point at 20, and then there's another stopping point at 22 miles. So one of those today. The downside is it's 10:30 because that's the only time he could bring us back out. So I'm getting a really late start. So unless I can walk really fast, it's going to be a late day getting into camp, probably 7. I guess it depends which mile I stop at, but it's going to be a long day. So I don't know. We'll just have to see how far I get. I don't want to walk till it's almost dark, but we'll just see how far I get. And then the hotel was okay. I got to eat dinner at Arby's and breakfast at McDonald's. I can't remember the last time I had breakfast at McDonald's. And then the hotel had some breakfast food, but it was all wrapped up. So I took that as my snack food for today. Danishes and muffins. They didn't say I had to eat it this morning, so I just took what I wanted and I'll eat it later. That's the plan for today. Walking under I-81. That's way up there. And then here's my trail, where the trail peels off here. Now I gotta walk up 1,000-foot mountain. Really my only big climb of the day. Good thing I get it out of the way now. I like to get them done early. And then I can get away from all this noisy traffic. Back up on the mountaintops. I made it to the top, but now I've got the rock garden here. Oh, I hope I don't have to walk through this all day. I'm not going to get very far at all. I'm sure it doesn't stay like this for too long. At least I hope it doesn't. So this morning I met a guy who started in January, and I'm just now catching up to him. He's an older gentleman. His name is John, and his registration number is 23. So he was one of the first people to register to start the trail this year. And he's obviously slower than most people, but he's trying. And he has a very positive attitude. And I hope he does well. So, John, if you ever see this, I hope you make it to Katahdin before winter hits, because I know you're trying hard. So keep up the good work, and you'll get there. First view of the day, probably the only one. Didn't even know this was coming up. Well, that's a big valley. I see some mountains way off in the distance, but not a whole lot of mountains right here. Except, of course, the one I'm standing on. Well, my days of walking 20 miles a day, I think, are over. These rocks are just terrible. I had a little break today for a couple miles that was nice and rock-free, but I might see, like right here, I get a little break, and then it goes right back into rocks again. And the problem with these rocks is it just tears your feet up, and you just can't get going. I mean, it's so slow walking on these. I'm just not getting anywhere. So it looks like I'm gonna stop here in about an hour and a half, and I'll have about 15 miles in today. And I know I got a late start, but that's all I'm gonna get today. It's already 5 o'clock, so I'm gonna walk about as late as I want to. And before I get to the campsite that I chose, it says there's lots of level tent sites there, so hopefully there'll be a good spot for me left by the time I get there. I've only passed a couple people today. I didn't pass anybody yesterday, so I doubt there's going to be very many people at the campsite. There's also no water there, so I have to get my water ahead of time, but which I already have, so that's not a big deal. But yeah, I'm just going to have to redo my thinking when it comes to planning ahead. Like I said, these 20-mile days, nope. I got to plan on 15, maybe 17 miles a day. I think is all I'm going to get for the next week or two. I've got I think I've got 110 or 120 more miles before I get out of Pennsylvania. So hopefully after that it'll get better, but I don't know. I know they said the rest of Pennsylvania is really rocky. Everybody I've talked to that already did it. So it's not going to get any better. Maybe New Jersey will be better.